Hello, my name is Ted Riney, and this is my informative speech for my Communications 100 class titled Jim Henson and the Muppets. Though it isn't talked about much, Jim Henson's career in puppeteering started because of his desire to work in the television industry, and without that, we would have never had the Muppets. Jim Henson's career, as well as the Muppets, have been through three distinct phases: creation, the start of their own franchises, and after the passing of Jim Henson. In 1954, Jim Henson and Russell Wall, Jim's first puppeteering partner, made Pierre the Rat for the junior morning show. Jim had a stint with another local show, and then in 1955 got offered his first program, Sam and Friends, resulting in the first iteration of Kermit, who wasn't even considered a frog, until 1969. While pursuing his passion, he did many local commercials to keep his new company afloat, named Muppets Inc. at the time. After a while, he moved on to national campaigns, and Ralph the Dog was born, leading to nationwide attention because Ralph started appearing in regular comedy bits on the Jimmy Dean Show. In 1969, Children's Television Workshop approached Jim Henson about creating an educational puppet show directed at preschoolers. Although he didn't want to be labeled as a children's entertainer, he went through with it. The show went on to become Sesame Street, spawning beloved characters such as Big Bird, Cookie Monster, Bert and Ernie, Grover, Oscar the Grouch, and eventually Elmo. Soon after, Henson's agent, Bernie Brillstein, got him as an act on the very first season of Saturday Night Live, with the Land of Gorge. Tensions were high, with the skits not being written by his crew and other cast members disliking sharing a show with puppets. The writers even going as far as using writing for the Land of Gorge as a punishment, as well as Michael O'Donoghue calling them little hairy face cloths. Needless to say, Henson never felt at home on this show. Luckily, soon enough, Lou Grade invited him to produce a half-hour show in England, resulting in The Muppet Show, going on to become an award-winning program that spawned 8 feature-length films, many spin-off shows, and lots of specials. Instead of focusing all of his attention on the Muppets, Jim Henson started branching out more. With the help of Brian Froud, Jim created The Dark Crystal, entirely populated by detailed, realistic-looking puppets, which was a major change from the intendedly cartoon style of the original Muppets. Afterwards founding the Creature Shop, which worked on both Jim Henson movies and many outside productions, one of my favorite being The Labyrinth. In 1983, another group of Muppets was born, Fraggle Rock. This show was intended for children to help them understand other cultures around the world. This show features creatures such as the Gorgs, the Braggles, the Doozers, and many other characters. Not only did Jim work on countless other projects, including short films written, produced, and starred in by him, he also made amazing strides in the way puppets are used today. Kermit was one of the first puppets made out of a softer material, which led him to not only be more expressive, but also it looked a lot better on TV. This design change has completely rewritten puppets today. Most puppets now are these soft figures because their handlers grew up with the Muppets and prefer the expressiveness of the technique. In 1989, Jim Henson wanted to focus on the creative side of his work, so he decided to sell his characters and his company to Disney, excluding Sesame Street because it's owned by the company formerly Children's Television Workshop, but now known as Sesame Workshop. After Henson's sudden and untimely death, negotiations went awry, and Disney would not acquire the Muppets until February 2004, which it now controls through the Muppet Studios. Currently, Jim Henson's legacy is carried on by many people who are just as passionate as he was. Sesame Workshop owns all of the Sesame Street characters and continues to find creative ways to teach children. As stated previously, the Walt Disney Company owns the Muppets and continues to use them in new productions such as Muppets Most Wanted. Finally, the Jim Henson Company itself, under the direction of Henson's children, continues to produce new projects such as Puppet Up, Uncensored, a live R-rated show, as well as spin-offs of their classics, Fraggle Rock and The Dark Crystal. In conclusion, though Jim Henson's life was unrightfully short, he had a prosperous career that changed many folks and the puppeteering industry for the better. Jim Henson's career, as well as the Muppets, have gone through 3 distinct phases: creation, the start of their own franchises, and after the passing of Jim Henson. Thank you so much for listening.